So my son Matt came up yesterday and helped me out a little bit, did some bead blasting of some miscellaneous parts. Didn't get all the way through it. Notice there's only 3 cocktail shakers, but we got one more to do, but I appreciate the help. Just spent the day yesterday continuing to seam seal. Also laid over this flange. This flange needs to be, I hate doing that. But this flange needs to be laid over because the convertible top lays right in here. So, yeah. And I did a nicer job than the factory. I'm just going to stick with that. Anyway, there is, I don't know if you can see this. All right, yeah. So right down here in the inside the quarter panel, I put some gray brush-on seam sealer, and then I also used that 3M foam on the brace in there. You can see that stuff's a mess. And like Roger pointed out on Mr. Fireman, it's a pain in the ass to use. I mean, I literally had my son standing at the back of this rig. I sprayed it in here, ran around the other side of the tar, tried to spray it in the other side, and by the time I got over there, it had firmed up in the tip. So, if you're going to use that 3M foaming, 3M body foam or whatever they call it, make sure you can spray a lot of it or pump a lot of it at a time. Otherwise, you're just going to run through tips like crazy. But I did. I got both sides done. I got the, like I said, I got the, come on, focus. I got the the seam sealer, the brush-on gray down there on that joint. The other place that I would recommend you spend a little time, it's a real pain to get to, but inside this cowl, and it doesn't have to be pretty, but I just brush those seams. I mean, as water runs down through this cowl up here, and it all heads down into these outer cowls. And it's great, we have them seam sealed out here on the outside, and that's all fine. But that inside joint's still there. So, take a minute, stand on your head, become a contortionist, get in there. I had to use a mirror. But, just hit those seals best you can. That would be my recommendation. It is kind of important. Up here, when I peeled my tape, ended up with a little bit of an edge on my nice seam sealed surfaces here. So I'm just going to I've been kind of waiting for this to harden up a little bit more, but I'm going to take some sandpaper and just scuff that down a little bit to even out the seam sealer up here, because that edge that it left when I peeled it was not nice. So I've got to do some of that today, and then I've got to go in here and sand these floors out a little bit. I've got a lot in vacuum and just keep cleaning, scrubbing, cleaning. I seem to have a lot of buildup in here of just metal filings from all the grinding, and I've got to clean that up a little bit. So before I can hit the inside here with epoxy, I'm gonna take some time, maybe take some thinner, like lacquer thinner. Just go through and do that. Do the same thing in the trunk. You can see I've still got, there's a lot of material just laying in here that I got to scrub out, vacuum out, or whatever. So, still working that, and hoping by the end of the day today, I'll be ready to do the epoxy on the interior panels and the underside. Underside's ready now, but the interior panels still need a lot of work. Then I'm going to, after that point, I'll bring it back in. I've got a little bit of work to do in this corner right here. It's a little proud of the trunk deck. You can see that it doesn't really line up all that good here. So I'm gonna rework this edge on both sides. I still have that to do, but I'm gonna do that after I get the interior epoxy all done. Then I'll rework those edges, come back, and then strip the entire outer side of the body so that I can get my outer epoxy done and then this thing will be ready for body work. I gave up. I ordered 2 new doors. They'll be here Monday. I was going to have to replace that one. It was just too far gone, and I knew that every time I looked at it, if I saw any wave in it, my eye would go right to it. So I ordered 2. Just kind of over it. The stock doors were nice. Hopefully the new ones will be as good a fit. If not, they may be revisited. We'll see. But I'm going to try to fit up some new doors, see how they go. Obviously, they're not here yet, so I haven't seam sealed those. I did take some time on the trunk deck and do just a seam seal on this edge right here, because this is where you see, you know, when a trunk starts to rust, that's what you see right there. And then I did seam seal in here as well. You know, just trying to hit the major points. I also cut my holes. I got a template from, it wasn't Heartbeat City, it was 396 Chevy or ss396.com or something like that. They had a really cool little paper template that was cheap. I just bought it, laid it right up here, made drilling these holes really on the other side, obviously. You tape the paper template down to the trunk and then just drill your holes, and your spoiler holes are all in the right place. Magic. So today I'm just going to carry on cleaning, doing some cleanup, I'm sure I'll find a couple other places that still need seam sealer in the trunk area or something, but I'm just going to carry on doing that, and I'll bring you back if I get anything interesting. All right, so the new doors have arrived. This looks pretty good. I think I need to slide it forward about a 1/16, but I've got just about that to give down here. So I think I'm good. So these are, I ordered these from JEGS, okay? JEGS had their own brand now. I don't know who makes it. I looked at the numbers, I couldn't cross-correlate them to anything. But what I will say is they fit very good. The only problem I have is right down here, there's a slight upturn right about here that goes up that I'm gonna have to, it's about 1/8 of an inch I gotta fill out on this end of this door, but I can just fill that. The other door was fine, right along that bottom edge. I took the doors and just hit them with a little bit of seam sealer around that seam that always seems to rust. But yeah, right here on the other one, it just cuffs in just a hair. It's about 1/8 at the very point. So I just got to build that back out. Pretty comfortable with that. I will get this, I'm going to scuff the insides of these after I get the passenger side one fitted up and tested. I'll get that worked out, and then once it's fitted up, I'll take them back off, scuff them, and I think we're ready to shoot our first coats of epoxy. So on the inside tub and the underside. Then once that's all set, we'll bring the car back in, and then when I'm ready to do the next bit, I'll take the entire outer portion of the body down to bare metal before we epoxy that. So yeah, these JEGS doors are well worth it. They were roughly about $500 cheaper total when you figured in shipping and everything up here to the wilds of New Hampshire. So it worked out pretty well. And I was just kind of the mindset, if they weren't good, I'd send them back, but they look really nice. And I'm glad I did it now. Body line matches up really good. Better than even my tape shows. My tape kind of hooks at the end. But I will, like I said, I'll take this next here probably later this afternoon, get a batch of epoxy mixed up, roll it out, and probably just shoot it outside out in the yard on some plywood. That way I'm not fogging out my whole garage. until I can work out a more appropriate solution for painting. But yeah, so far so good. The doors look good. I'm pretty happy with them. So one thing I did notice is the pin seems to, I had to stretch the pin out a little bit for the door mechanism. So I might, once I pull the mech out, I might tap that panel out a little bit and see if I can work that back so I don't have to shim that pin. That's the only difference I see. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm in pretty good shape with this one. But this door is certainly going to save a lot of time and effort not having to rework both of these doors. So it is what it is. All right, so got interior panels coated in a final coat of epoxy. Come out pretty good. Did it outside just because, well, it's just a coating, it's not a finish. So I just rolled it out and did it out here to try to avoid destroying the shop. But yeah, it came out pretty decent. It's good to see everything in a solid color for a change. So yeah, that's pretty much the interior, and I got down in the quarter panels real good, up in the cowls real good. Tried to hit everywhere I could, you know. Again, this is all going to be coated with lizard skin, so it's more just for sealing everything up and covering the bare metal and covering over the seam sealer before put the lizard skin on. So pretty happy with it. I got some small parts I'm going to shoot tomorrow, I think. Kind of used up today, so I'll just get cleaned up here and hit it again tomorrow, I guess. But yeah, anyway, that's what it looks like. And again, next step will be to strip the entire outer body right down to bare metal, and then, you know, do a little more careful coats on that, obviously. But as it goes, it's looking pretty good.